All right, skis. Found a different way to hang this, so we'll see how it goes. All right, what'd you guys have? Got my water, got my tart cherry kombucha. One of the only kinds, not one of the only brands I like. And, whoops, instead of having a snack, well, I ate 2 little cutie oranges, and then instead of having a snack, I just went ahead and ate like an entire bowl of gluten-free raviolis. They were delicious. So far, so good. It's dried a little bit, which means I can probably go in and do some more stuff, but I think I'm going to start working on some of the other colors, just so you guys don't get bored with the red. All right, so I don't have my light on because I decided to plug my phone in. I want something bright right now. So I'm gonna go in and do a little bit of that crazy neon green, which I have to water down because I think, nope, that's pretty good. Just put it in there. So in her young age, she has the black eyes, but and I can't decide if they're green eyes or if she's got like some apocalyptic glasses on, but they're green. So let me know if it was better with the light. I was having trouble being able to plug in the phone/light stand and my phone at the same time. But if it's better with the light, then I will fix it. So just let me know. Also, because it would just be good to know if it works with the light or if the regular daylight is better. Woo, look at that. That is green. A little bit of brightness. You know, when you're feeling down or blah, sometimes you just need like an obnoxious color. To make you feel all better. Thank you, Sarah. It's so weird out right now. So this morning when I woke up, it was like 57 degrees, and it looked like it had been raining. And it was, it's very overcast right now. But it's supposed to be like 81 degrees later. Yay for California weather. So weird. I don't like hot weather, to be honest with you. I used to when I was little because I like swimming. But I feel like when you're older, swimming is boring. When I was little, it was all about dressing up, being a mermaid. You know, playing fun games. Now we're old. All we're allowed to do is float around. And I don't even have energy to do any of the fun stuff anymore. Alright. So I am kind of painting them in a haphazard way. Because I do need to add some other colors to it. So I'm going to go ahead and see if I still have some of that bright yellow that I used in part of the jacket, which you can barely see now, to kind of add to the area over here. So I usually push the color up to like the edge and then smoosh it out. That way it looks blended. It's funny, everybody does things differently, and that's why I really always tell people, like, experiment. Do stuff weird, do stuff wrong, because it's only wrong because it's not like the classical way of doing things, but if you do things differently, you might find a way to, wow, those look like they're glowing, don't they? Ah, maybe I should put some glow in the dark. No, Hollis, shh. See, my brain just instantly starts thinking about like outside of the box stuff that some people might not think of. Even though lately it does feel like nothing's original anymore. Oh my gosh, I went from like grumbling stomach to extremely full. Life. I'm getting a darker green to do on the bottom edges. I want to make sure it's not too dark green. It still needs to mesh in with the other colors. So oddly enough, I'm actually taking the, like, making it super dark by adding black. And then, so it's like an olive color now, and then going back over to the yellow and the lighter green and mixing it. It's kind of like a Mod Podge of color, so that it still is along the same color. Because if I were to have gone in with the color that I just poured out, it would have been like way too different. So, and I'm sure some of you are like, she makes that look easy. I promise it's just because I've messed around so much that I found my own way of doing it. To wear it. See, this is the color I poured out, but without that olive color that I just added, this color would have been just ridiculous. So, see how I always put it on the edge, and then I just push it into the other colors, and sometimes I go back this way. I'm going to add some more yellow there because it's getting too blended. You want a shadow, you want to highlight. But like I said, I don't do my shadows and highlights from the perspective, like, all serious and stuff. But really, I'm barely touching the surface. Just to get those colors mixed in there. And I just keep going back and forth with the different greens and yellows I just made, so that it will have its own ombre effect almost. And I dry my brush off. Like right now there's no paint on my brush. It's just still slightly wet from there. What you think? Alright, I am going to take a little bit of this white that's way too dry and sticky and put it in the dry and sticky. Look at that. Blah. I don't know what kind of jar this is, but I really like it. It's a weird shape. Alright, so I dip, now that I got the sticky old white paint on my paintbrush, I just dip the paintbrush with the paint in the water real fast, and then I roll it like this on my thing, and then I pull it like this just to kind of make it pointed again. And I watered it down, so now that it really looks, you know, now I can make the nice loop. Yep, I just painted on my hand. So I'm gonna go in with a very light touch and very little paint right here. And then I'm gonna take a heavier white and I'm even gonna put, keep in mind when you're doing stuff like this, like I'm just playing around right now. When you're doing stuff like this, if, thank you so much, Sarah. I teach you. Even though your thing you did the other day looked so dope, those greens, man, and you put the perfect greens in the perfect place. I mean, yeah, I could see that your brain was having fun with that one. I'm so proud of you. And it's nice to see you do physical artwork too. I love both. I love digital. I had to be careful with digital though, because I don't want to forget how to do, green is my favorite too, like absolute favorite color is green. I don't want to forget how to do this other stuff. All right, so now I'm not boring you with red anymore. The other thing that's green is the crow's eye and some of these frilly things. So, since it's out, I'm gonna go ahead and just apply it. Let's see, this eyeball is different than that eyeball. It's really hard to keep a consistency with sketching because proportions change, ideas of stuff. So the same way that I did the eyes is the same way that I've done bubbles. Well, bubbles are hard. Anything that's kind of see-through but yet has color, like glass, is hard. I'm sure there's certain ways of doing it. But I think that's the one thing that I'm actually stubborn with. I'm not stubborn with very much, but excuse me. But I do get stubborn with, like, I don't want to learn how people do it. I want to mess with it until I figure it out on my own. Sometimes that's smart, and sometimes I probably could have saved a lot of time looking it up. But I feel like that's why I found my style, because I just figured it out, like, in my own way. Like, I know the basics, but I need a little bit of blue. I'm gonna go with light blue permanent. And like on here, it'll tell you if it's opaque or translucent. Sometimes I buy a color just because I like what color it looks like on the tube. And then I find out that it's translucent, and it's a huge pain in the butt because it doesn't come out so solid, and then you try to add white or whatever to it, and then it changes the color. So, just going in with a little bit of this, like, I added some of the same green from her eyes. So, continuing to use some of that other color with new colors added can help tie it together. And that way you don't have to feel like you're wasting paint. Oh, see, I stick my hand in my own paint all the time. If you're not getting messy, you're not doing it right. All right. Oh. Then I take a dry brush and I just kind of squish it till it... See, that went too far. It's too much all the same color. Little ones can be harder because you have less space to make mistakes. Which is always funny to me because a lot of times when I make art and it's little, I feel like because the size of it is little, that it shouldn't cost that much. And if it's a big piece, it should cost a lot. But that's silly. Guess it depends on what your perspective is. Because if you do art like miniature, man, that takes forever. It's not easy. Yes, I used my finger. Not only getting messy is fine when you're doing art. Like, don't worry about like how clean your area is, unless it messes you up. And clay might be a little different. You kind of want to stay clean with clay, but I guess the main part of what I'm trying to say, if I ever really know what I'm trying to say, is allow yourself to just do whatever you want to do. If you want to be messy, be messy. If you want to make tiny stuff, make tiny stuff. If you want to scream at it, throw it on the ground, go ahead, but make sure there's a pillow underneath. There we go. Alright, I'm going to grab a little bit of that same yellow-green for a little bit of a highlight up here. And then I'm going to grab my little square dry brush that's a little too wet. If you guys don't know, I use this crusty old towel because it wipes off just the right amount of paint, just the right amount of water, so that my brush isn't too dry and it's not too wet. Like, I don't use paper towels hardly ever. Things will always look different. Look, that's up close. That's far away. So don't be afraid to move your stuff around. Get up, walk away, look at it from far away. I tend to say that a lot, but it's just because I do that a lot. Bubbles are so hard, guys. And also, if you make a mistake, just paint over it. Like, I mean, unless it's a really big mistake, you can usually just paint over it. Nothing is necessarily permanent. And if it feels permanent and it feels like it's gonna mess everything up, take a break. Not an angry break, just a break. I really like how the bones turned out, but I do need to close in those gaps. So I'm gonna use that red before it dries out too much more. Just closing this up. Oh, I don't have my music on. I was wondering why it sounded so weird. I don't remember which one you voted for, Sarah. I'll have to look at my notes. Let's see if I can do it close enough that you can kind of see better. So this is a completely dry brush. This is what I love about wood. I can rub it to change it, to lighten, to make it look antique, to allow it to have certain colors. Okay. So there's these little patches on the side of her sleeves of her jacket. I love patches. It's another thing that I tend to put in my work often. Just like that. I might start doing some of the gold tasseling too. So with the patches, I usually do like little tiny black lines. I'm not quite ready to pull out that yet. I do have a beautiful gold color that I'm going to get out right now. Here it is. Is this it? No, that's not it. Ta-da! This is my favorite gold because it actually looks gold. So, oops, don't forget to shake your paint. Alright, so these have little like gold kind of oh man, why did I put it there? I don't clean my palette, so sometimes I put my paint on the wrong part. Little gold brads. I'm gonna make it switch real quick. Hang on. I think I need my light back on. Okay. Because we're gonna get a little closer here. I'm gonna move this out of the way. Adjusting is just something that happens with art, you know, like it or not, it's just part of the deal. Trying to make sure that you can see. Thanks for hanging in there. So these have little gold like rivet type things on them almost. Last time I went a little crazy with it and put it all over. That was a goofy laugh. Don't be scared. Yep, my brain went, oh, I'm gonna put that right there. You can't see it, but it's there. All right, so little gold tassels. I might have to put a different, oh, it looks super gold on the camera, that's cool. Which it is gold, but you can't see the individual strands. So I might have to, I'm gonna flare those ones out a little bit. Okay. I might have to go through and do a little bit of white or something. How do I want to do this? You know what? I'm going to use that same crazy yellow. I'm going to mix it with the gold. but not too much. Now I'm gonna wipe it off. I do a lot of like twisting and wiping. There we go, there we go. I probably could be using a thinner brush too to make it look more, see if you can see what I see. See, here, because the light is shining on it, it looks solid almost. But this is what it looks like. See that black area? I don't like that. Yes, mustard yellow. I have one of my favorite colors that I use called bronze. Oh my gosh, I can't even remember. Here it is. Bronze yellow. It's like the grossest baby poop, like mustardy color, but I use it a lot because it tends to look very antique-like, and I tend to, even though my moods and stuff are very bright and whatnot, I like the aesthetic of like steampunk and stuff like that, if you couldn't tell. And don't be scared to adjust your piece. I said that funny. Adjust your piece. Move it around. Okay. Baby poop colors make good detail shot. Yes. Sarah, you're so smart when it comes to art. Like, you have this knowledge and understanding of the basics. It's really beautiful, but not just the basics. Like, you give quality advice. I like it. Okay. So I'm going to pull out a different yellow. It's one of my favorites too. Cadmium yellow deep hue. I like it because it's almost kind of orangey. You're welcome, sweetie. Whoops. Because there's some yellow that goes into the crow's top spot up here. Now that I'm going into more of the detail part, there's more pauses in my conversation. As you get comfortable with your piece, as you get less afraid, as you get past the ugly stages and you get into more of the fun decorative parts, you'll be able to zone out and appreciate what you're doing. You should always take a moment to look at your work and like really realize that you're doing something. Like, whoa, I'm making that. That's kind of cool. Ugh, I keep putting my hand in it. So once, like I said, once you start getting comfortable with it, make sure you kind of thank yourself for taking time to make some art. Be impressed. It's okay to impress yourself. There's been a couple times that I've had like an idea for painting something, and then I had no idea what I was going to do. And when I finished, I was like, whoa, that actually was kind of cool. It worked out pretty good. Like, we gotta pat ourselves on the back sometimes. If we don't, it's just silly. Oh, look, guys. I did one, but I didn't do the other. I'm not bouncing around as bad as I usually do. But I do tend to bounce around a lot. I've said before that sometimes I allow myself to bounce around because I'm afraid that I'll forget the idea that I have. And I'd rather like try it and like it fail than just totally forgetting about the idea, and do it when I'm done with what I'm working on. Alright, I'm gonna go over and do another layer of yellow. Ooh, too wet. Sometimes when you dip your paintbrush in the water, it's good to make sure that there's not water droplets up here, because you won't notice, and then when you're doing this, the water droplets will roll, and all of a sudden you'll have a big wet spot. And it sucks, because it can really mess up things. Which, like I said, nothing's totally permanent. It's all fixable. But let's all be honest, our time is important, and fixing something like that could really be like a waste of time. Don't choke, puppy. So from having nothing on this to being what it is now, it's not too bad. I'm getting the urge to go in and do... Ooh, I'm getting two different urges. Should I do buttons and stitches? Or should I do the skin? I probably should have done the background. I didn't do a background on the last one either, though. Contemplation. I could jump in and do the little scarf thingy. I think I'm going to do the black. Jelly jars make good paint holders. Yeah, I even use the inside of the lid to like... So this is what I do. Here, now that my palette, I can use this as a palette. Okay, so I dip my paintbrush in the paint to where it's like super thick. Globby, no good. And then I dip it in the water. Then I roll it like this and pull it through. I should show you on the other side. And that way it's like thin, watery. The tip is a little more pointed. All right, here we go. There's a line that goes here. There's a line that goes here. Almost looks like a dress, huh? It's funny. This line follows all the way down. Okay. This is a button. Filters. Wonderful. I love that idea. You have to show me. So I use a lot of stitches in my work. I don't know if it's just from being a fashion major at some point. It's because I sew. As long as you covered the little puncture hole on the bottom. They made really good mixing cups. I love it because then you're reusing something that's being thrown away most of the time. I heard that the inventor publicly went out and was like, I regret making it plastic. All right, so that's like the main design. I'm gonna put the buttonholes in. On the jacket though, all of it is outlined. And if you're like me, and your hands are not always the steadiest, don't make your lines steady. Let them wiggle, let them jump, let them do what is natural to you. Because when you do that, it's another thing that can make your style yours. Like I do this thing where I'm giving away all my secrets. I do this thing where I just kind of do it, and if it doesn't go on it right, I don't worry about it. If it skips, like I'll put a little line in there. It's just how you finish stuff, like in your own way. And yet, like this is like the finishing details that usually people do at like the end of their piece of artwork. And I tend to do it just whenever I feel like seeing something that makes me feel like I accomplished it. A lot of times just using the black makes me feel accomplished. We all work really hard on what we do, but sometimes when we walk away, we get that feeling like we didn't do anything. And that's a horrible feeling, especially when you've been working. So just like finding one color to do all over is how I start, so I'm not like panicking. Using black, even if it's just in a few places, is that's how I end my painting sessions for myself, because black is one of those colors that feels like you're finishing. And for me, I think I just need that closure, that I'm getting closer. And everybody will start to find their own ways of dealing with your artistic anxiety. And once you get more comfortable, it'll be hard to quit. There's so many times that I'm like, if I could just paint for like 6 hours, I would finally feel like I accomplished something. Because sometimes it feels so unfair to have to quit, to do stuff like eat and pee and take care of other people. Not that it is, but I don't like those black lines. But that was just what my body wanted to do for that moment. Okay. Oh, I missed a spot. Her shirt has this part here that goes like this and that, and then sounds like they're tearing a tree down or something in my front yard. Okay. I should have got a thinner brush for this one. So I'm doing like the little thread stitch marks. Beep, 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 beep. There you go. And then there's some random lines. I am gonna get a thinner one. I'm gonna use this one. So now I have a thin one for these weird little extra lines that go on her jacket. It's almost like the backside of the ribs are showing. A little bit of a cleavage line there. I'm feeling pretty good about it. Part of me just wants to like finish, but I also know that being on here for a long time is probably kind of weird. My kids are both in school. This is like my one day that I'm, well, no, Monday too. This is like one of my days that I'm alone. It's really hard to get time to be able to do stuff. Ah! Glue on the cheap paintbrushes suck, but I like the cheap paintbrushes. Oh, you know what? This is yellow. I should do that while I have yellow out. It's like a toucan crow or something, huh? Is there anything else that's yellow? You know, her face, hair. And even though if you're using your own work as like reference, don't be scared to change it. I know we want consistency, but at the same time, like if you decide maybe another color might be better, try it. Never know. Alright, so we're just getting a little bit of that yellow that's on everything else in her skin. Because remember, I like to bring the colors that, you know, we use throughout the painting. Even if it's like, she looks beautiful so far. Her eyes look like moons. Oh, thank you. I'm so excited to have this. I'm hoping that this type of artwork will be what I use for my short stories, because there will be colorful illustrations in that for sure. There's no way I could make a book without colorful illustrations. And having the black as the background always makes it like really look like it's glowing. You know, because it's not. Let's do that close-up thing. Looks all messy. The eyes look messy. Far away though, burn, looks okay. Not too bad. Alright, so now I was trying to remember how we made the skin color. And this is watercolor, so it's gonna look different. It's gonna have different things. It's on a white background. This is on a black background. Usually I do a background color kind of like around the drawing before I start, but I didn't do that the last couple times. I'm not sure if it's just because I've been in a rush for Finish It Friday, or what. Alright, just mixing a little bit of brown, making sure I put some of that yellow in there. Sorry. It's taking a bit longer than I thought it was going to make this color. I've also been trying really hard to make sure that I have different colors of characters, because I want everybody to feel included. That being said, some of my characters have green skin, some have purple, some have, I don't think I have anybody that has blue skin. Do I? I have someone with blue hair, I think. Gosh. Even when it's your art, like whether you're writing or whatnot, like it's okay if you can't remember certain stuff. Especially, like I have 55 characters, so I'm gonna forget some things sometimes, and that's okay. Doing that thing where I put the main color on the edge and then start mixing together the other colors to get a little bit more of a blend going. Usually the places that are like a little higher on the face, I do where the highlights are. I've been working a little harder on paying attention to shadow and light with at least the faces that I create, because I know that it actually matters with that. It matters with all of it, but okay. I'm gonna get a little bit of a darker brown and start to kind of put it under the eyes, because she's sleepy. Time traveling can get you down. Put a little bit of the, sorry, can't even see. Hands in the way. Put a little bit of that color. Let me put it under this eye as well. Now it's starting to look a little more depth, a little more with a story on her face. She's not just, so anywhere that you feel like is like a dip or where a shadow would be, I'm just laying that darker color a little bit, rubbing it in. I usually put it here because that's where, like, you know, the shadow from their hair or whatnot. And you can almost see like lines where certain things are, and that's totally fine. So I'll go doing something weird, grabbing a little bit of the blue that we used in the bubbles, and I'm gonna lay it out. See, it's blue, but it's mixed with the same color here. I'm just adding this weird mix of blue and the yellow and the brown in here for kind of like a cold highlight. This one's a little more blue. Just a tad right here. It's almost like I want her cheeks to look kind of cold. Maybe time traveling is chilly. I feel like it would be chilly. Or maybe it would be hot. I don't know. What do you think? Time travel would be hot or cold? It's a hard choice. So she looks pretty creepy right now. But this is where I'll go in and start doing that dry brushy push the color around thing. You can see where that hard line of yellow is from when I started. And we're gonna go back and do that again. So right now we're just making sure all the colors we want are kind of in there. That dark brown is gonna need to go back under her eyes. So I will grab that. You're a trooper, Sarah. Are you writing, reading, editing, working the other job? What are you doing today? Yeah. Yeah, it's hard when you're describing stuff, writing and putting in applications. Good for you. Whoop, whoop. I like it. I like it. So I found this paintbrush that had some leftover color. And I decided I was just going to stick whatever was left over on there. Boop. So this is a weird way that I layer colors and such for my faces. I need a dry brush that's small. This one's almost too dry. It's very sticky. So, get some white on here. This is the part that can be really hard. It's just going back and forth. Going back and forth with these weird little layers, like trying to figure out exactly when to stop, when to create, like when's the blending enough, when is the color where you want it to be. I love doing this on wood though, like I really, really do. Watercolor paper can be a little more difficult. Oh, who's out there, Pippin? Just because I could sit here and rub paint on this wood all day long and it doesn't cause a problem. But if I sit and rub, watercolor on watercolor paper all day, it's gonna rip eventually or melt. Still looking kind of rough. I only just learned how to do facial coloring. It's something that I had to teach myself for sure. I took a, what's it called? Like a figure painting class. I was so excited to take it. Man, that teacher was so mean. If you didn't do stuff exactly how she wanted you to, you were crap. Like, her critiques were like, man, just no good. There. I mean, I understood why she wanted me to do some of this stuff, like, as close to her way as possible. But, like, I also felt like I was still doing a good job, even when I swayed away from her way of doing things a little bit. But, if it didn't look like exactly like hers, then it was trash. Not that she said it like that, but she might as well have. You know what I mean? That's why I decided that if I ever taught classes, I would do freeform, because when you're in regular school, it's very rare that you can find a teacher that's going to be like, oh yeah, let's help you learn your way of doing things. I think it's important for people to find their own way of doing things and maybe just get tips or ideas. There. Look at that hole in her cheek. That happens sometimes. It really does. So I might have to wait until it's ready for me to patch it up. But it's not too bad. I like her yellow toned skin. Her lips look a little creepy, so I might do those next just so that I can make sure I see. And her nose needs to be worked on a lot. But not in a annoying way. Oh, I dropped it. I should probably end this because this is the longest video in the world. I'm gonna rub out this nose, and I'll do start doing a little bit of just like get the main color of the lips down. So I'm really getting into the shade side of this nose because I want her nose to really take a defined shape. As you can see, tiny stubby paintbrush. It's great for this. It's one of those paintbrushes that other people would have definitely just thrown away by now. But I saw potential. Yay! Kind of looks like a nose now. Put a little yellow highlight right here. add some of the same yellow here. There we go. It looks a little bit like a nose. Just a little like a nose. Get some dark brown in here, kind of right under the nostrils. Okay. I'm going to use just a tiny bit of that blue for like the underside of these nostrils. And right here, and right here, and over here, and right there. Oh yeah. And you're like, that hits the spot right there. Interesting. Okay, so I'm going to take that little paintbrush that we were using earlier, going to get it back into this black. Every once in a while I can revive my older colors. Okay, and I'm going to, can you see? Yeah, okay. Try not to block. This is another one of those moments where you have to be okay with the fact that you might make an odd choice in your line work. I think my eyes are getting worse. Which is funny because every time I go to the eye doctor, they're always... Okay. Almost done, almost done. I gotta at least get some of these last... Remember, I have a problem with finishing if I don't have the black on what I've just done. Otherwise it doesn't feel like I can really say I completed something. That is a weird issue of my own. That's why I call my art sweet issues. Because sometimes the things that we feel like are issues are just who we are and the way we do things. So I believe I worked on this for an hour-ish. Maybe a little bit longer. I want to thank all of you. Ooh, this kind of makes me want to give her black lips. I'll have to think about that. Okay, she might look totally dope with black lips. I like that. I'm gonna think about that. All right. But yes. So for those of you who don't know, this is video number 2 because I decided to take a quick lunchy snack break in the first video. And there's a lot of good background story in that one. So, she's gonna have crazy eyebrows. I used to hate my eyebrows because they were so crazy. The first video has a lot of really good background story about her, good tips. You will learn a lot about who she is, what her story is, why. So I suggest you go back to that one. It also shows the very first sketches of her, kind of how she was born into this story. she has the cutest little Freckles. I absolutely adore Freckles. I used to have this sweet little girl that I taught art lessons to, and she was an amazing little artist. And she had freckles, and I always thought it was the greatest thing, and it took her a while to like her freckles. But if you have freckles, I think it's awesome. I have moles, so I totally understand feeling like something on her face is not necessarily the best thing. Nice, thanks, Sarah. You're on top of it. You guys are all so helpful and loving. Thank you so much. Okay. There we go, guys. That is what we have so far. I'm gonna unhook this because I like to show. See, this is where I've been working. See, this is the evil, creaky octopus that ruins everything. Alright, I'm gonna turn it off. So, this is what we were going for, and this is where we're at. And you can see the differences in face shape, in the jacket, even in the eyes, the skin color, but that's okay. It's not meant to be 100% perfect. I'm really digging the black lipstick though. But I feel like the black lipstick makes her look like an adult, and she's supposed to be kind of teenager. So we'll see about that. I might have to make her as an adult, like if you, so that's her as a kid, and that's her as a teenager. Doesn't look like it, but if you do these two, kid, teenager, I might have to make one that makes her look like an adult. But this one, I'm gonna put red lips and see if that helps. Plus her face is a lot skinnier here, and she has more full cheekies, so I might have to go and make more full cheekies. All right, either way, thanks so much for joining me for Finish It Friday. I hope you guys had a good time. For anybody who has watched this or said hello, like always, if you decide that you might want a print, or because I have a print of this one, or if you are interested in an original, let me know. For the people who watch Finish It Friday and talk and support me, I'm giving little discounts for purchasing them, or free shipping depending on what works best for you and where you're at. So if you're ever interested, just comment below, tag me, whatever you need to do. Thank you so much for being here, and I'll see you next Friday.